Hey there, everyone. This is Chris Peeler from the Wizards of the Coast community team, and I'm joined again by Drew Nolasco from R&D, lead designer of Magic Duels, and today we're also joined by Brian Hawley, who is another member of Wizards of the Coast R&D, and he's the Duels content specialist. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some changes that are happening to individual cards that you're going to see in Magic Duels, and the overall Duels metagame. So, what we mean when we say metagame is the frequency that you see certain cards and decks appear online. So, Brian, talk to us a little bit about those changes since you were involved with making them.
I was indeed. We're making a number of changes to the Duels starter box, which are the free cards that you receive upon downloading the game. You can use in all of your decks going forward. The first one should come as no surprise to the seasoned Duels player, which is that Monvuli Acid Moss is becoming Explosive Vegetation. Monvuli Acid Moss is a card that we have perceived and have often heard cited as being a large part of the reason for the success and perhaps dominance of the 4 and 5 color ramp decks recently. We are aware that Explosive Vegetation is not a strict downgrade in power level, but more shifts the power of that deck into what we think is a more fun play pattern, where they cannot both accelerate their own mana and suppress yours. And they need to open themselves up to kind of the traditional strengths and weaknesses of ramp decks, in that they need to choose between either forwarding their own game plan or interacting with yours. The next change is that Perilous Mirror is becoming Bronze Sable. One pattern that we've noticed, especially among players newer to Duels, is there's not a lot of incentive to playing larger creatures. It is a lot more efficient to kind of flood the board with small creatures and try and trade them off as efficiently as possible. It is not very fun when the best thing to do against a strategy is to kind of do that strategy more. And Perilous Mirror is kind of the flagship card for this efficient trading and just kind of one-for-one chipping away, grinding at value type of interaction. So we're kind of taking some of that efficiency away in the replacement with Bronze Sable. Jagged Scar Archers is becoming Lifespring Druid. Jagged Scar Archers is a card that we see, again, especially among players newer to the game, creating these kind of lockout board states where flyers are completely invalidated by the activated ability, and ground creatures are quickly locked out just by the sheer size of the creature as it grows with the number of elves on the board. Lastly, we come to Foundry Street Denizen, which is a card that, especially in multiples, is capable of kind of creating these runaway games where one player gets ahead and kills their opponent before they have a chance to execute their strategy at all. Additionally, with the addition of more expansions and more cards into the pool, certain types of decks, in particular hyper-aggressive red decks, benefit disproportionately from the addition of new cards that support their strategy. So we're taking a somewhat conservative approach, and we are aware that this is a fairly strict downgrade in power level from Foundry Street Denizen to Goblin Balloon Brigade.
Thanks for explaining all those changes to us, Brian.
Absolutely.
So, when the release happens in April, how are these card swaps actually going to happen?
Well, we've made it as painless as possible for the players. When you download and install Shadows over Innistrad in April, you'll find that all of these swaps have been made automatically for you in both your collection and all your decks. So, for example, my red-green ramp deck, which had Monvuli Acid Moss, will see it be automatically replaced with Explosive Vegetation. I don't have to mess with the deck builder or make any one-for-one changes. It's just ready to go again. And this is so that none of your decks became illegal to play. You can just use them as if they're ready to go.
Which means that it's easier than ever for you to lose to my Crush of Tentacles online.
He's beaten me 8 times in a row.
And with that, it's time for us to head on out.
No, wait, there's one more thing.
Oh.
So, one more thing. We know that the most requested change from the community for Magic Duels has to do with the end of match procedures in 1v1 play. Right now, if your opponent concedes or disconnects or evaporates into thin air, you have to beat an AI bot in order to gain rewards, and you only gain the rewards if you beat the bot. So in April, we're making the change. Now, if you have your opponent disconnect or concede or evaporate into thin air, you'll immediately gain both the rank and the coins as if you had won the game. You can still choose to play against an AI if you want. So let's say you wanted to see if your Crush of Tentacle decks could go for a 9th win.
It would.
But you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to. You can just get the coins and the rank.
That's great, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be really excited to hear about that one.
I hope so. We really appreciate the feedback that you've given us, and we want to make the game better and more fun for you, so please continue the feedback.
All right, and with that, we're going to head on out. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.